Everyone says I'd be an amazing parent. They see how I am with kids, the way I light up, the way children gravitate toward me. So why does the idea of having my own feel like suffocation? If you've ever loved something deeply but knew in your bones it wasn't meant to be yours, keep watching, because what I'm about to tell you will change how you see yourself. You scroll past photos of your friends' kids and feel a soft warmth in your chest. You stop to talk to a toddler in the grocery store and make them laugh. You light up when someone brings their baby to the office. You genuinely love children, you always have. And yet, when someone asks when you're having your own, something inside you goes quiet. Not angry, not defensive, just quiet. Because the truth is, you don't know how to explain that loving children and wanting your own life to include them are two completely different things. And somewhere along the way, you stopped trying to make other people understand that. This isn't about not liking kids. It's not about being selfish or broken or secretly damaged. It's about something far more human than that. And if you've ever felt like you're supposed to want something just because you're capable of loving it, this might finally make sense. Let me say this first. There is nothing wrong with you. The idea that affection must lead to ownership, that love must translate into life restructuring, that enjoyment equals obligation, that's not psychology, that's pressure. And your brain knows the difference, even when the world pretends it doesn't. So let's talk about what's really happening here. For some people, loving children exists in a very specific emotional container. It's joyful, temporary, and complete on its own. You can be fully present with a child, feel genuine affection, and then return to your own life without conflict. That's not avoidance, that's clarity. Your nervous system isn't wired to need the permanence of parenthood in order to experience the warmth of connection. You can hold both truths. I love this, and I don't need to build my life around it. Think about it this way. You might love live music, but have no desire to be a musician. You might love the ocean, but not want to live on a boat. The brain doesn't require us to consume, contain, or control the things we appreciate. But when it comes to children, society skips that nuance entirely. It assumes that if you're good with kids, if you feel something when you're around them, then the next logical step is to become a parent. And when you don't take that step, people start searching for what's wrong. But nothing's wrong. You're just not confusing affection with destiny. Here's what's happening under the surface. Many people who love children but don't have them are highly aware of what parenthood actually requires. Not the Instagram version, the real version. The version where your identity shifts, your autonomy dissolves, your sleep vanishes, and your nervous system recalibrates around another human's needs for years. And here's the part that gets misunderstood. Recognizing that isn't fear, it's honesty. You're not avoiding responsibility, you're refusing to romanticize it. Your brain is doing something protective here. It's saying, I know what I can handle, and I know what I value, and I'm not willing to betray either one just to fit a script someone else wrote. That's not selfishness. That's self-preservation. And it's one of the sanest things a person can do. But here's the part nobody tells you. Sometimes this clarity doesn't come from logic at all. It comes from deep, early imprints about what safety feels like. If you grew up in a home where you had to be responsible too young, where childhood felt like work, where you parented your own parents, your nervous system might have logged parenthood as stress, not fulfillment. You can love kids now, as an adult, because you're finally free to engage without the weight of obligation. But the idea of returning to that role of being needed that intensely again feels like going backward, and your body won't let you. This is where attachment shows up quietly. If your early life taught you that your needs come last, that love means sacrifice, that being good means disappearing, then becoming a parent might feel like erasing yourself all over again. So you protect your boundaries, you protect your peace, you say yes to connection in small doses and no to the life path that asks you to lose yourself. That's not cold. That's survival instinct dressed up as a life choice. And this is where it gets interesting. For many people, the decision not to have kids isn't made once. It's made over and over again across different life stages for different reasons. In your 20s, it might be about freedom. In your 30s, it might be about career or partnership or just not feeling the pull. In your 40s, it might be about relief. The brain doesn't lock into one narrative, it evolves. And so does your relationship with this choice. You might notice that as you age, your reasons shift, but the outcome stays the same. That's not inconsistency. That's integrity. You're listening to yourself across time, across circumstances, across pressure. And every time you're choosing the life that feels true, even when it's the one nobody's celebrating. There's also this. Loving children from a distance allows you to regulate your emotional energy in a way that parenthood doesn't. When you're with a child for an hour or an afternoon, you can be fully present. You can be playful, patient, generous. And then you can leave. You can return to silence, to autonomy, to a nervous system that isn't on high alert. That rhythm, engagement, and retreat might be what your brain needs to feel safe in the world. Parenthood doesn't offer that. It's immersion. It's constant. It's beautiful for some people and destabilizing for others. And if your nervous system is wired for space, for solitude, for control over your environment, then choosing not to have kids isn't about not loving them. It's about loving yourself enough to structure a life you can actually live in. Think of it like this. Some people need a home full of noise and people and motion to feel alive. Others need silence and stillness and order. Neither is better. They're just different. And the same applies here. You can love children and still know that your home, your mind, your life needs to be child-free to feel like home. There's also the invisible weight of expectation. If you're someone who was always told you'd be a great parent, who was praised for being nurturing or patient or good with kids, then not having them might feel like breaking a promise you never actually made. But that's not your guilt. That's borrowed. Your brain is trying to reconcile the version of you that other people imagined with the version of you that actually exists. And sometimes, the kindest thing you can do is stop performing the future someone else wrote for you. This isn't about rejecting love. It's about rejecting the idea that love only counts if it's permanent, biological, and all-consuming. You're allowed to love children the way you love sunsets, or music, or the ocean, deeply, temporarily, without needing to own it. And here's the truth that nobody says out loud. Some of the most peaceful people are the ones who stop pretending to want things they don't, who stopped auditioning for a role they never wanted, who looked at the life they were told to live and said, quietly, I choose differently. You're not broken. You're not missing something. You're not selfish or cold or emotionally stunted. You're just someone who knows the difference between appreciating something and restructuring your entire existence around it. And that kind of clarity in a world that constantly asks you to prove your worth through sacrifice is rare. So if you love children but don't have any, and you've spent years trying to explain that to people who don't understand, maybe you don't need to anymore. Maybe it's enough to know that your life makes sense to you, that your love is real even when it doesn't look like what they expected, that you're whole, exactly as you are.